Okay. Oftentimes, black women aren't approached, or black men refrain from entering any sort of serious relationship because we consult with the Brotherhood. Now, the Brotherhood is nothing more than the network of black men and their friends that we use to pretty much do a background check on black women, or just women in general. So, case in point, if you went to school in Southern California anywhere between 2000 and you're probably still in school, right? You know, my membership to the Brotherhood is still good. It's probably going to expire probably around maybe 2010, 2011. So if you went to school anywhere from 2000 and 2011, my Brotherhood is still good. Okay, that means that I can contact a friend, a cousin, a relative, or somebody that knows somebody, to the point where I can find out information about you. Okay, whether you're in Northern California or Southern California, right? You know, someone in the Brotherhood has access to your file. Especially with Facebook, it makes it even easier, but, you know, I'm still old school, right? I haven't caught up with technology. You know, I'm still the good old phone call. Hey, what's up, dude? You know, so and so. Oh, you know, I have a boy who knows her. Hey, can you help me out? And be like, I got you. Give me a couple of days. That's the Brotherhood. And what we do, we don't try to ruin people's relationships, and we don't try to break happy couples up or prevent people from getting together. All we do is share information that we may, view as critical, major things. So like I said, we're not trying to look up, who she was with and what they did. We're just looking for major things, right? Did she ever cheat, right? Did she ever do it on the side? Was she a liar? Was she a manipulator, right? What's going on, right? Did she have a crazy past? So we look for major things. Like I said, we're not looking for small things, because when I get called by somebody in the Brotherhood and they want to know, hey, what's up, Pink? I met so-and-so. You guys went to school together. She says she knows you. What's good? Oftentimes, we can have a conversation where I'm spilling my guts, but that's not what it's about. If I know something major, oh man, she got ran through by the basketball team, or she's quick, she's a tramp, I'm going to tell that to him. Or she's a liar, she's a cheater. She spent dude's money. I'm going to let her know. I'm going to let him know, excuse me. But if it's cool, she's got a couple of guys here and there, and, nothing new, and that's it. Right? He's going to give my thumbs up. You should go ahead, at least on my end. So that's what the Brotherhood does, because what we try to do is prevent men from getting into relationships without knowing the whole picture. Because if you get with a woman without knowing the whole picture, right, eventually you're going to get the picture. And you're already in a relationship, so when you back out, you look like the bad guy. And you're kind of unofficially wavering her past, right? You get with her without knowing her past, so you're automatically signing a waiver. Well, hey, you got with me, you signed, you did it, you committed, right? You should have took your time, right? You'll get that whole, well, you should have known better. And this makes us different from women, black women, because the women will come on and they will enter relationships without fully knowing the dude's background, okay? So they'll enter a relationship and they'll still be in the process of finding out information. That's what, I never understood. And the women will say, oh, this shows that we're willing to work things out and that, we're not caught up on, a male's past. But all it does is sign that waiver. All you're doing is condoning bad behavior amongst black men, right? There are men out there who live foul, but know that they can still get the best and brightest of black women because they're not going to do any background checks, right? And they're going to put themselves in a position where they have to stay through, right? They have to stick it out, right? Because you know how black women are, right? You enter a relationship and they swear up and down that, you guys signed a marriage contract and it was an arranged marriage, and there's legal documentation saying that you have to be together. They'll stay it out, even if you have all these problems, only to complain later and accuse them of wasting their time. So this is what makes us different. Okay, we know sometimes all we need is your name and the school you went to, and we're doing our information before because we're not really into wasting time. That's why it's so important to understand your character, right? Your character evaluation is incomplete as a black woman unless there are certain black men that you've had relationships in the past that can vouch for you. It is what it is. Why do I say that? When you are with somebody romantically or in a relationship, there's a side of you that no one else knows. Okay? So if I'm trying to prove my character, I can get my coworkers, I can get my family, I can get my friends, but there's going to be sides of me that they don't see, that the women that I'm, close to or intimate with will see. Okay? So they'll be able to say, well, he's kind of inconsistent here, there, and the third, right? And you have to value it because, like I said, they get a side of me that the rest of the world doesn't get. You understand where I'm coming from, right? And that's key. But a lot of black women feel like they can have everybody else vouch for them, right? And that's supposed to be good enough. Nah, that's why we have the brotherhood, right? That's why we have the brotherhood. And even now, slowly, my brotherhood is expanding out of state. So, I got some connects in the D.C. area. So it's forever expanding because it's needed. The same with the men, right? It happens all the time, right? You'll have a whole bunch of black men who say, oh, this is my boy, he's upstanding, but it'll be that woman who pops in and says, well, I'm having this baby. We've seen the movies and the comedies where it's just like, well, you have a kid, right? And, some upstanding type black dude, and some woman comes in and says, well, he was with me last night, and everybody's just like, oh, shaking their head because her claims are legitimate, right? Everybody knows if you are a man, you can only go so far with your boys. You're only going to be a certain way with your families, your relatives, your co-workers. There's the other side of you that no one's going to know, right? I'm not with you at 11 o'clock. I'm not with you when you need company like that. You're obviously going to be with a woman. So she's going to know stuff about you that I'm not going to know. That's going to be important in terms of loyalty, integrity, honesty, and all this other stuff. So, in closing, to bring it back to my original point, another reason to why a lot of black women aren't being approached or overlooked or, shunned or whatever you want to call it is because we've already went through your background, we used the brotherhood, and we found discrepancies, and that's not even part of the problem is we found those discrepancies and you didn't even disclose it before. That's the thing. So it's not even about getting caught up in your past. It's about you having the opportunity to disclose information and you didn't do it. It's like filling out an application. What do they say? Have you ever been convicted of this, that, and the third? And it doesn't rule you out. It probably does. But to them, what they'll tell you is it doesn't rule you out. We just want to know ahead of time. So do you have anything to tell us? Right? You'll say yes, no. Does it matter? Because they're still going to do a background check, right? So that's all it is. So, you guys take it easy. If you're doing what you have to do, or you're doing what you claim to be doing, you'll be fine. The brotherhood will clear you, and you can move on. Take it easy. God bless. Yo, I forgot to add this. I know there's going to be women out there who are going to claim that, I'm making up this whole idea of the brotherhood. But as men, remember those questions? What did you hear about me? What did you know? What did he say? Right? When you tell a chick, oh, okay, my boy went there. Oh, okay. Oh, what did he tell you? What does he know? That's the brotherhood. So if you're a woman out there, you have to believe it. I'm not making this up. How many times as a woman have you ever asked a dude, what do you know about me? What did you hear? I need to know, because sometimes there's lies out there about me. That's the brotherhood working. You know it's there. So if somebody's always watching, take it easy. God bless.